It's helpful to think of a modifier gizmo as an object in its own right, although that's not literally true. However, the form of the gizmo affects the underlying object in the stack. Take a look at this object. It's a box with a bend modifier applied to it. The bend modifier is very simple. It has an angle parameter which affects the form of its gizmo. The underlying box object conforms very well to the bend gizmo because the box object happens to have sufficient topology in the height to support that kind of deformation. Now, the modifier gizmo has a pivot point just like the underlying object does. And you can access some advanced editing features by changing the relationship between the modifier gizmo and the underlying object. To get into that, you need to expand the modifier in the stack, like that. And there are two sub-object editing levels within Bend, Gizmo and Center. Let's take a look at Center first. When I click that, it turns yellow, telling me that I'm in a mode. When you're in a mode like this, you can't work on other objects. After all, we're in the sub-object level of Bend, right? So that's what we have to focus on. Notice that rotate and scale are grayed out. We can only move the center point. If I move the center point, it's like moving the pivot point of the modifier gizmo. And as I do that, it affects the resulting form of the object. Note that I didn't have to go down the stack and increase the height of the box. It automatically will conform to the shape of the gizmo. You can also move the gizmo up or down, and that has an interesting effect. I'll go into the front viewport and zoom out. If we eyeball the center point of this by lining it up with this height segment, we can get the box to bend over on itself symmetrically. And if I go all the way to 360 degrees, we'll get a full circle. Let's go back. I'll undo a couple of steps and take a look at the gizmo sub-object level. Now this allows you to directly manipulate the gizmo, and you can also rotate and scale it. Moving the gizmo is just like transforming the center point. So the interesting thing here happens when you rotate the gizmo. If I rotate that gizmo, watch as the box sort of flips over and tries to conform to it. This is a desirable kind of editing feature that you can get by rotating the gizmo. So that functionality is built in to the bend modifier. I'll go back and exit the sub-object mode by clicking on gizmo, and we're back at the object level. The direction parameter actually rotates the gizmo. So by increasing this value or decreasing it, I can get the box to do something just like we did before when we rotated the gizmo manually. So this is because it's used so often, you can just use the direction parameter without having to get into the sub-object modes. But as you can see, there's more editing power available here. By transforming the gizmo, you can alter it in some unusual way to get just the form that you're looking for.